has the highest ranking for higher education of all states according to U.S. News and World Report, that website that tells everyone which colleges are good every year. This metric measures according to 5 factors: 2-year graduation rate, 4-year graduation rate, educational attainment, debt at graduation, and fees and tuition. Specifically, Florida ranks number 3 in 2-year graduation and number 2 in tuition and fees. But how did Florida make its college system so great? First, let's address the history of Florida's higher education system. A period of rapid growth began for the Florida higher education system in the 1950s and continued for 40 years when the state began to address their growing population. And in 1969, a focus on unique programs arose and fostered the importance of missions for institutions and addressed duplication of specialized programs, essentially finding ways to be more fiscally responsible while maintaining a variety of programs available to Florida residents. Since the 1970s, a persistent theme has been improving access while also maintaining and enhancing quality. Any discussion of success of a state's higher education should start with leadership and structure. Florida has a unique governance structure in that the oversight of higher education is split between 2 groups. The oversight and administration is 2 steps away from the governor, and the institutions are separated into 2 categories. These groups are called the Florida College System and the State University System of Florida. The Florida College System is comprised of 28 former community colleges that provide affordable access to a wide variety of 2- and 4-year degrees. It is coordinated by a chancellor, currently Madeline Pumariega, who reports to the Commissioner of Education. The chancellor is appointed by the Florida Department of Education. Between 2012 and 2018, it produced a strategic plan titled Stepping Up. The plan describes this system as the primary access point to undergraduate education for Floridians, including recent high school graduates and returning adult learners. 4 main goals were specified in this plan, including expanding and maintaining access, enhanced learning, increased college readiness and success, and to prepare for careers. The primary mission of the Florida College System, as established, is to respond to community needs for post-secondary academic education and career degree education. This includes a vast range of needs, including undergraduate courses and associate degrees, preparation for careers that requires less than a bachelor's degree, providing a range of student development services to ensure success, promoting economic development, offering dual enrollment courses, and providing upper-level instruction and baccalaureate degrees. It should be noted that while these state colleges are a network of community colleges which have grown to meet the demand for 4-year college degrees, they still collectively serve around 800,000 students. This comes out to an average of 30,000 students per institution. For context, this is about twice as large as CCAC, 16,000 students. The larger research-focused institutions in the state are run by the State University System of Florida. Starting in 2002 with an amendment to the Florida Constitution, a governance structure was set up for the state's universities. This Board of Governors is appointed by the Governor of Florida and approved by the Senate for 7-year terms. Its charge is to operate, regulate, control, and be fully responsible for the management of the entire system of universities. Responsibilities include defining the distinctive mission of each university and ensuring the well-planned coordination and operation of the system. Unlike the Florida College System, this board then appoints a chancellor to be the chief executive and administrative officer of the university system. This system finds a happy medium in which the governor is incentivized and motivated to uphold high standards for higher education, but does not have complete control over all decisions made. Other states, in comparison, give the governor the highest position of power. Pennsylvania, for example, runs the risk of policy being focused solely on the governor's initiatives and priorities, because the governor appoints all officials within the higher education hierarchy. In considering access, Florida colleges rank very highly in affordability. If attending the largest of the 28 colleges, Miami-Dade College, with an estimated 165,000 students on 8 campuses, one pays approximately $3,000 annually in tuition. The second most popular college, Valencia College, costs about the same. This is made possible because such a large amount of college budgets come from the state. This is funded primarily by the state lottery, with about half of lottery revenue going to public schools, and the other half funding the state's colleges, universities, and student financial aid. Between universities and colleges, this amounts to about $500 million, with another $450 million allocated for financial aid. In fact, more than 65% of the core funding for public institutions comes from the state and local appropriations. The lottery also funds the state scholarship program Bright Futures, which awards high-achieving high school students. This program offered generous tuition grants to high-achieving high school graduates as measured by test scores and grades. These grants were framed as an initiative to keep talented graduates in-state to give high school students an incentive to work hard during their education. The qualifying scores were initially low in order to ensure that low-testing minority students were represented. However, the vast majority of merit-based aid went to upper-middle-class families. Later, changes to the program increased the necessary score to receive aid in an effort to save state funds. Overall, this program promoted growth in higher education in Florida since its inception. Florida has a number of state-funded grants and scholarships that are contingent on Florida citizenship, which help to fund Florida residents and keep those bright students within the state economy. For example, the Benequisto Scholarship provides a merit scholarship for Florida residents who achieve the status of Merit Scholar. And the grants also encourage residents to pursue a college education, such as the First Generation Matching Grant Program, for students with significant financial need and whose parents do not have a college degree. In addition, there are also programs to help prepare families financially for college, like the Florida Prepaid Plan, which incentivizes students to attend college while taking the lump financial burden off the family and is also less predatory than similar programs found in other states by charging less in monthly fees. With more aid offered by the state, Florida college students have less average debt than students in neighboring states and across the United States as a whole. Students at Florida colleges are less likely than neighboring states to have debt upon graduation, again being aided by the support that the state offers. Compared to neighboring states, Florida has the highest retention rates with public 2- and 4-year institutions. Florida also surpasses the national average retention rates in each of these categories. Compared to neighboring states, Florida has the highest percentage of degree completion at public universities within 4 years at 38.7%. This is higher than the national average by nearly 5%. With private nonprofit institutions, Florida does better than Mississippi and Alabama, but slightly worse than Georgia. With private for-profit institutions, Florida does significantly better than the neighboring states, with 54.5% of students graduating within 4 years, much higher than the national average of 23.3%. In degree completion within 6 years, Florida once again outperformed neighboring states and the national average with 64.4% compared to 57.6%. With private nonprofit institutions, Florida performed better than Alabama and Mississippi, but again slightly worse than Georgia and the national average. With private for-profit institutions, Florida performed significantly better than neighboring states and the national average, with 58.6% of students graduating within 6 years. And at 2-year institutions, Florida ranked higher regionally and nationally with respect to degree completion within 3 years at 2-year institutions. Compared to neighboring states, Florida spends hundreds of millions of dollars more than the next highest state funding leader, Georgia. Florida spent nearly $3.4 billion in 2013, while Georgia spent a little over $2.5 billion. In the same year, Alabama only spent $1.4 billion, and Mississippi spent around $925 million. Over the next 2 years, each state increased its state funding allocations for higher education, but in fiscal year 2015, Florida spent over $4.2 billion, which is an increase of over 26% from 2013 expenditures. This is more than double the national average of overall U.S. increase in state funding, which increased 11.7% over the same time frame. From 2017 to present, the Florida Board of Education continues to make policy changes and reforms to increase the success of higher education systems, such as proposed changes to financial aid and tuition to make college more affordable. Thank you for listening.